Becoming a big shot rapper isn't something that happens every day, and for Eminem, it wasn't easy either. He came from a poor background and faced a lot of tough times, even when he was older. But he didn't let that stop him, fighting through every challenge that came his way and becoming one of the best rappers ever. Now he's a big deal and everyone knows his name. But here's the story of how Eminem started out.
Not to sound corny or nothing, but I felt like a fighter coming up, man. I felt like, I'm being attacked for this reason or that reason, and I gotta fight my way through this.
Born on October 17th of 1972 as Marshall Bruce Mathers III, the now famous Eminem had a tumultuous upbringing. His parents' troubled relationship resulted in a broken home, and he frequently found himself hopping between various relatives' houses. Money was something sacred for him and his family, and the frequent upheaval had a negative impact on the young Marshall. When he was just a year and a half old, his father left the family. Because of this, his mother, Debbie, would have to take care of him alone while living in poverty. But this was just the start of the many problems that he would face later in his life. As Marshall was growing up, his youth started to fill with negative and even more horrific experiences. He attempted suicide multiple times and had the house robbed more than once. Furthermore, he had a troubled relationship with both his parents. He used to write letters to his father as a teenager, but Debbie claims all the letters were always returned, marked as return to sender. Amidst all these difficult circumstances, Marshall's education was also badly affected, and in one of his interviews, he recalled how he used to change schools as often as every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I would change schools 2-3 times a year, and that was probably the roughest part.
Apart from that, Marshall also had several negative interactions with bullies. For example, D'Angelo Bailey assaulted him and seriously wounded his head, which he humorously acknowledged in his song Brain Damaged. His mother would sue the school over the incident in 1982, but a Macomb County, Michigan court would dismiss the case the next year, claiming that, at the time, schools were immune from lawsuits. Moving on, Marshall and his mother Debbie would live in Detroit's predominantly black area. There were just 3 white households on the block, including Marshall's. He was frequently beaten up by teenagers from the area and even opened up about his bullying experiences many years later, claiming that he had to cope with being the new kid all the time and was pushed into lockers and beaten up in the corridors and bathrooms.
Yeah, there was a lot of instances that I would
You got beat up coming home from school?
Beat up in bathroom, beat up in the hallways, shoved in the lockers, just for the most part, man, just being the new kid.
Marshall was always interested in storytelling from an early age, and before going into hip-hop, he wanted to be a comic book artist. But this all changed when he discovered his first rap song on the Breakin' soundtrack, Reckless, featuring Ice-T. This was a gift from Debbie's half-brother, Ronnie Polkenharn, which would later become his musical instructor. Sadly, the man would pass away in 1991. This impacted the young Marshall severely, and he did not attend his burial and didn't speak publicly for several days afterwards. He would also have a difficult scholastic experience due to his bad grades. He was in 9th grade for 3 years, not only because of his academics, but also due to truancy. At 17, he dropped out of Lincoln High School. He said he was never a fan of social studies and math, and while he liked English, he was never really into literature.
No matter how bad I was at school, and no matter how low my grades might have been at sometimes, I always was good at English.
To help his mother pay the expenses, Marshall worked many jobs, including at Little Caesars Pizza. But his home life was still far from ideal. He and his mother would argue frequently, and according to him, she threw him out of the house several times, even when he was assisting with finances. What's worse is that she would take most of the paycheck. In response, the young rapper would spend his time creating songs and blasting the sound. Besides his turbulent life with his mom, his romantic life was far from perfect. At 15, he met Kim Scott for the first time. They began dating, and in 1995, while still in high school, Kim Scott became pregnant with their daughter, Haley Mathers. The relationship was not ideal. Both frequently lacked money and lived in subpar places. They broke up and reconciled several times, but Eminem claims he had good intentions for the family. Even Kim talked about him, saying that he was a good father and always loved his kids.
I guess we could talk to each other about anything. I guess that was a big thing in a relationship, but I don't know if he was a good husband or not, really. He's the only husband I've been with, so I can't compare him to anybody else. What kind of a dad is he? He's an excellent father. He loves the kids very much.
The pair would marry in 1999, but the marriage only lasted 2 years. After reuniting, they would marry again in 2006, but that marriage would collapse shortly after. However, even when there was nothing around, there was something in him that was ready to be sparked up. Despite his apparent brilliance, Eminem would suffer setbacks early on in his career. He published his debut album, Infinite, in 1996, but it wouldn't take off, and he struggled to maintain himself and his daughter Haley. Frustrated and on the verge of giving up, he would channel his sorrow and aggravation into his music, writing honest, unapologetic songs that portrayed his terrible reality. And this was the moment that would change everything. It wasn't until Eminem got the notice of Dr. Dre, a famed producer and rapper, that his fortune would begin to turn.
Back in those days, I didn't have an artist to work with. I would go to Jimmy's house and have listening sessions. He was trying to help me figure out where I was gonna go.
In 1998, Dr. Dre recruited Eminem to his record label Aftermath Entertainment, after being impressed by his lyrical prowess and unique style. Together, the two would launch Eminem's major label debut album, the Slim Shady LP, which would propel him to stardom. The Slim Shady LP was a critical and financial triumph, earning Eminem his first Grammy for Best Rap Album. Including singles like My Name Is and Guilty Conscience, Eminem fans were fascinated by his dark humor, bold storytelling, and fearless self-expression. Eminem's fame only grew with his subsequent albums, including the Marshall Mathers LP and The Eminem Show, both of which peaked at the top of the charts and cemented his place as one of the best rappers in history. His drive to success was bolstered by a major appearance in Source's Unsigned Hype column, and he exacted revenge on his earlier critics by winning the Wake Up Show's Freestyle Performer of the Year title and finishing second in Los Angeles' annual Rap Olympics. Eminem would later have prominent features on Raucous Records' Soundbombing Volume 2 compilation and Misdemeanors to Real World. He also made headlines when his mother filed a lawsuit claiming that comments made by the rapper during interviews and on the Slim Shady LP caused emotional hardship, reputational damage, and a loss of self-esteem.
There is a lawsuit pending still, which I'm trying to resolve things. I'm in the midst of trying to get things resolved.
But none of this would damage the sales of Eminem's follow-up albums. With his global success in the rap industry, Eminem has sold over 220 million records globally, making him one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. He has received several awards, including 15 Grammy Awards, and his impact on hip-hop culture is enormous. But perhaps Eminem's greatest triumph is his ability to defy the odds and overcome adversity. From his humble origins in a trailer park to his rise to the top of the music industry, Eminem's tale exemplifies the power of perseverance, passion, and self-belief. Despite numerous setbacks, he would never give up on his aspirations, and his story serves as encouragement to young artists everywhere. Eminem's legacy is more than just his music. It's the indelible impact he left on the globe, demonstrating that the boy from Detroit's 8 Mile Road is one of the best rappers of all time. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell icon to never miss our future updates. Thanks for watching.